be held to account.
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Call on this estimates debate today. Mr Speaker, we in this National-led government are very proud of our 2014-15 budget. We are very proud of its family focus, $500 million support for New Zealand families, which has found favour with New Zealanders right across the country. In my own electorate of East Coast, which has many families struggling to make ends meet, and too many communities with very high social deprivation, the free doctor's visits for children up to 13 has been welcomed. I'd say it's been extremely welcomed, and I've had numerous phone calls into my office. Also, as an area where many women are working 1 or 2 and in some cases 3 seasonal jobs, the expansion of the criteria for paid parental leave has also met a great need as we seek to support newborns and their mums in those early weeks and months. Mr Speaker, we in this National-led government are extremely proud of our Prime Minister and our Finance Minister, who have steered this country through some of the toughest economic times ever seen since 1931. We've been very lucky to have the leadership that we've had from John Key and Bill English. And, Mr Speaker, we in this National-led government are very proud that we are finally to be back in surplus, ahead of most of the developed world, without having to have made the savage cuts that we have seen our friends around the world have to make in countries like the US, the UK, and then just recently our closest neighbour, Australia. How wise our leaders were to resist the calls from the opposition, Labor and the Greens, to spray millions and millions of dollars around to artificially stimulate the economy to create jobs. And they were largely make-work jobs that they were talking about. That's what they were begging us to do at the time. They're not saying that now. Of course, now they're saying that they would have done the same of us, that they would have been fiscally responsible, etc., etc. But actually, in this House, they opposed every single change that this government made to try and restrain government spending that had got out of control under the previous Labor government. But look, let's face it, the opposition never let the facts get in the way of a good story. But, Mr Speaker, this budget delivers so much to our communities in ways that we know will make a tremendous difference. $22 million to budgeting services. What a great job our budgeting services around the country do. I know in Gisborne and Whakatane, their officers, of course, have been working, as a result of our welfare reforms, have been working with more and more families, and they have welcomed the extra resources because that enables them to make huge changes and differences in the lives of some of our New Zealand families. Mr Speaker, $33 million to help the most vulnerable in our community, the children that are at the greatest risk of being bashed, of being beaten, and in some cases of being killed. And I was delighted that the Minister today announced those extra children's teams, and 2 of those are coming into my electorate, one in Gisborne and one in Whakatane. Both communities have a dreadful record of vulnerable children being hurt by those that should be taking care of them. Mr Speaker, we in this National-led government are proud that Budget 2014 builds on the hugely successful results in recent years in reducing crime and reducing reoffending, to make sure that we have fewer victims out in our communities and that more New Zealanders can feel safe in their homes, in their communities and in their workplaces. And I want to put it on record here today that police and corrections will continue to target their resources to where they know it will make the most difference, and they will work smarter. They will work smarter, because that's what it's all about. And it's very clear the opposition don't understand that. They think you throw more money at something, it's going to get better results. We know that that's not the way it works. We know that we can deliver better public services by actually working smarter, and certainly in the justice sector we are seeing that on a daily basis. Working together and working smarter, the opposition don't understand that. So can I say here today that the police's core operating budget is being maintained at $1.46 billion in 2014-15. Now, I know that the opposition have tried to make much of some expenditure from last year that hasn't been carried over into the 14-15 year and described it as cuts. Well, that's just not true. Restructuring HR and finance, implementing the Criminal Procedures Act, a road policing underspend, sending more people off to the Solomons. These are things that happen just once. And so why on earth would you carry over the funding for that into another year? I know it is really difficult to read budget figures when you're in opposition and you're just looking for a quick headline, but actually the facts are that police's baseline funding has been maintained, and we have seen over the last 4 years, as their budget has been maintained, they have worked hard to reduce recorded crime to a 30-year low. We've seen a reduction in crime of 20%, and they have done that by working together and working smarter. And the Labor opposition think, and we've heard it from them, they criticise the police for that. They minimise the effort that the police have put into reducing those crime rates by saying, well, it's happening all around the world. Well, I can tell you it isn't happening around the world to the extent that it is in New Zealand. We are world leaders. Our police are doing a fantastic job, and they deserve the support of every member of this House to pat them on the back. People tell me out and about that foot patrols, having more police wandering around in the CBD, keeping an eye on what's happening out and about in vulnerable neighbourhoods, makes them feel safe and actually stops crime from happening in the first place. Mr. Speaker, this is about how we work smarter and support our police to deliver safe communities. Mr. Speaker, Budget 2014 also supports the Prime Minister's Better Public Service targets to reduce reoffending rates by 25% by 2017. And corrections are doing a fantastic job. They have increased drug and alcohol rehabilitation places both for prisoners and those who are serving community sentences, alongside providing much, much greater access to education and skills training, because we know those are the things that will make a difference to the lives of those people as they finish their sentences and go back into our communities. 7,500 prisoners leave prison and go back into our communities. Mr. Speaker, reoffending at the moment, the government invested $96 million over 4 years to increase that rehabilitation, and we now have 9,300 fewer victims of crime a year as a result of a 12.5% reduction in reoffending. That is making an enormous difference to the lives both of the offenders but also to the lives of people in their communities. Mr. Speaker, we in the National-led government are proud of our justice sector and we back them. We applaud their hard work and their dedication, and we encourage them in their desire to work smarter and to deliver better results and safer communities. Mr. Speaker, we know that cash isn't king, as our colleague Shane Jones talked about last night. Cash is not king. When it comes to public services, Mr. Speaker, it's results that count. It's better results for New Zealanders, and in the justice sector, it's better results so that people can feel safe living in their communities. Mr. Speaker, I'm proud to be part of a national-led government standing and delivering the 2014 budget.
I call the Honourable order.